His training camps were the stuff of legend. I mean, he would spar 100 rounds a week sometimes. It was just insane.
Yeah. So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock the world.
1000%.
Joe Rogan has shared his thoughts on Crawford's intense training for the upcoming Canelo fight. He praised Crawford's rare ability to fight equally well from both stances, and his knack for adapting mid-bout skills Rogan thinks could help neutralize Canelo's raw power and ring experience even with the size gap. Still, Rogan warns that Crawford must be big enough to absorb Canelo's heavy shots or risk getting overpowered.
Crawford about to fight.
Yes, he's going to fight Canelo. I just hope he's big enough. I hope he's big enough to keep that dude off him because Canelo hits so hard, man.
That's one dude that, like, I believe all the shit he be talking.
Crawford? Yeah. Oh, he's good.
He don't just be saying shit.
They tried to say that like Errol Spence was damaged because of what Crawford did to him because he was damaged from the car accident. I'm like, maybe. Or maybe Crawford would have done that 3 years ago. I think he's that good. He's just so skillful. He's so slick. And when he gets, and he's also the best guy in the sport at switch hitting. He'll go from southpaw to orthodox and be just as good and trip you up. Like you think he's gonna start southpaw, he starts orthodox. You prepare for orthodox, he's fighting southpaw. He feels like he's got you timed better orthodox, he'll switch it up.
Rogan isn't shy about picking sides. He's all in for Crawford in the mega matchup against Canelo Alvarez. On a recent Joe Rogan Experience episode with Jim Lampley, he was asked who he favored and instantly replied, Crawford. He explained, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think Canelo is slowing down. Rogan admires Crawford's smooth footwork, adaptability, and fight IQ, even while acknowledging the big challenge of Canelo's size and punching power.
Which I think is really interesting. The Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
Because how does Crawford compete with that size? Crawford is leapfrogging. He goes to super middleweight.
47 to 54 and now to 68.
And the Madrigal fight in 54 is a difficult fight.
Yeah. So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock the world.
1000%.
I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he was young. He uses strength and conditioning. There's very few fighters that just train using skill, train skills. Like George St. Pierre did that for a certain period of his career.
I wonder if there's anybody left in boxing who trains just using the gym skills. There were a lot of them when I was first involved in the sport who would never have touched a weight.
Right.
You know, they subscribed totally to the notion that that was negative.
Right. And the worst case, I mean, they definitely did calisthenics, but that was it. It was just body weight exercises, you know, which brings us to Crawford, which I think is really interesting. The Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
Fascinating. Because how does Crawford compete with that size? And, you know, we have to recognize, okay, well, when Canelo fought Floyd, it was 152 pounds, right? So he had dropped down, which was a struggle for him, which is why Floyd was so brilliant in getting him to go down to 152, because he knew he would be drained.
52 or 54?
Rogan also cautioned Crawford not to take Canelo lightly, stressing the danger of his size and strength. Still, he said he'll be watching, calling it probably the biggest fight in boxing. In true Rogan fashion, the podcast veered from fight talk into unexpected territory at one point. He even discussed cartel mule runners while breaking down the matchup.
When you look at the elite of the elite boxers, to a man, to every one of them, they're disciplined and they stay focused. I'm so excited to see this fight with Canelo Alvarez because I think the Saudi Arabians have so much money. They're throwing so much money at boxing, and the guy who's the head of boxing over there wants to make that fight happen. I think Terence Crawford, forget about the 3 weight classes. I think he could beat Canelo.
I think he can too.
On the Joe Rogan Experience, Crawford looked back on his 2023 win over Errol Spence Jr., crediting his dominant performance to relentless training. Everything you see Fight Night. We drilled it time and time again. He told Rogan that repetition, he said, is what made it look effortless. As for Canelo's size, Crawford shrugged it off. He might be bigger than me, but big don't mean stronger.
Actually practicing it, that was something that when I had the cast on, I was like, man, I love the gym so much. I'm like, man, I'm not leaving the gym. Like, I'm going practice with this left. And that's when I got the left stronger. Because at first, when I go southpaw, it was only, my right. Then when my hand got messed up, start working on the left, and it started getting stronger and stronger. And I started getting more accurate, because at first, just throw it just to be throwing it. And then, it just got to a point where my left was actually way stronger than my right.
Boxing analyst Teddy Atlas frames Canelo versus Crawford as a battle of size versus speed. Canelo has the power and home turf advantage, while Crawford may edge him in agility and fight smarts. Atlas compared it to Manny Pacquiao's stunning win over Oscar De La Hoya, praising Crawford's instincts, timing, and slippery style. Even with Canelo's proven success at higher weights, Atlas says Crawford's versatility, ring IQ, and intangible skills could be the difference maker.
He's a little overrated.
Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? But those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Crawford has revealed a striking body transformation ahead of his super middleweight showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Formerly fighting at 154 pounds, he's now bulked up to about 185 pounds in training, even reaching near cruiserweight levels in earlier footage. Despite the muscle gain, he stayed lean and defined, a sign of disciplined conditioning. But not everyone's convinced strength coach Rob A. Oster warns that jumping from 154 to 168 and beyond so quickly could hurt Crawford's speed and stamina against Canelo's top-tier power.
On size, Crawford coming in the ring, and Crawford doing everything he can to match Canelo's power, possibly size, and to, at a minimum, try to just maintain what speed he already possesses. Because, when you go up in weight, sometimes you compromise speed. So we know Crawford and his team are doing everything they can to, at a minimum, maintain his speed. But the question came up, okay, since Crawford is looking to come in the ring fast, powerful, we know he's already brilliant. Shit, what if Canelo comes in lighter? I'm like, lighter? Yeah, what happens if Canelo says, you know what, I'm not gonna try to come and just outweigh him by 20 pounds on fight night, because I realize I'm in it with somebody who's very agile and who's probably gonna be faster than me, and although I have timing, he has timing too, so I can't afford to be 2 or 3 steps behind Terence Crawford in my...
7 boxing coach Greg Hackett doesn't think a Crawford knockout over Canelo Alvarez is realistic in today's 12-round fights. Canelo is too tough to drop, and Hackett says Crawford doesn't have the one-punch power or the desire to stand and trade bombs. Instead, he predicts Crawford will win with a boxing clinic, not brute force though in the old 15-round days. He thinks Crawford could have worn Canelo down for a KO. Tensions are heating up too. Canelo jabbed, "You'll learn what happens when a good fighter moves up to fight a great fighter." Crawford fired back, "So you're saying Mitri Bivol is a great fighter, and you're just good. Every time you stepped up, you lost." A sharp reminder of Canelo's defeat to Bivol.
How do you feel like he will do going against somebody like a Canelo at 168?
I think Bud, man, one thing I love about Bud, he willing to challenge himself. And when you're willing to challenge yourself, you can surprise yourself. But that's a hell of a feeling. I think, to be honest, you don't want to sit there and brawl with Canelo, but at some point you're gonna have to fight him. You know what I'm saying? You can't let Canelo press you. You know what I'm saying? Because he's great at that, and he a bully. He is a bully. But Bud, I believe, got bully tendencies too. You know what I'm saying? And he could be crafty. But I think if he approached it the way he approached Spence, then we get a way better fight than people think. Now, what I saw when he approached Spence was, I can't make a mistake. I can't let him do too much. I can't let him be a bully. I think if he go at Canelo the same way, then we get a great fight on our hands. I'm sorry. I'm not saying he's gonna be that dominant, but I'm just saying I think we get a great fight on our hands.
Former two-division champ Andre Ward gave a full-throated endorsement of Crawford in the upcoming Canelo fight. "I'm not betting Terence Crawford against anybody right now," Ward said, adding he's someone you could bet the house on. Ward admits the jump in weight is risky, but insists no one has ever broken Crawford's will and until someone does, he's siding with him.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat.
WBA light heavyweight champion Mitri Bivol, famous for his technical skills, is a big Crawford admirer. He's called Crawford amazing and says young fighters should study him as a blueprint for how to box. Ahead of the Canelo fight, Bivol again named Crawford as one of his favorite fighters, praising both his size and skill, and saying he believes Crawford can win.
I want to quickly ask you a couple of questions. Crawford, Spence. I know you watched the fight and you spoke about Crawford. How good is Crawford?
Crawford is amazing, not just good. He's amazing, and
he said the same thing about you.
Thank you, Terence. But I think he should be in the book for how to learn boxing. You know.
Really?
He's a very good fighter. Yeah, I like to watch his fights.
Pound for pound number one?
Yeah, probably he is now because he is undisputed champion in 2 weight classes. And
crazy.
He's a great fighter. Yeah. To be honest, I didn't see, I think, Crawford in real life. I don't know how big he is. But the size, you know, when I came to boxing gym and my coach told me that one of the rules it's like respect the weight classes, you know. You should respect weight classes. But he has a very good skill. He's one of my favorite fighters. Active fighters now.
Boxing legend Bernard Hopkins thinks Crawford's demolition of Errol Spence Jr. had long-term consequences. He claims that the punishment Spence took in that fight effectively shaved for fights off his career, aging him physically and mentally. Hopkins believes the damage will stick with Spence, proving Crawford doesn't just win fights, he changes fighters forever.
Crawford.
Believe Crawford, even though, fought twice, throughout the year, Crawford,
But look where he beat.
Undisputed.
Look where he beat. Look where he beat. What he did to Spence and how he did it. That's 3 fights to me. And it took 4 fights out of Spence, right? Yeah, I'm a fighter, so I can tell you when you get punished like that.
Yeah, I was there ringside watching the fight.
It was years out of, you don't see the years right now, but it sort of takes something out of that person going forward. They still can beat some fights, but it really put a bruise on it. You didn't see Spence fight yet, did you?
No.
Did you hear him name opponent for him to potentially fight? It's been quiet. You see the weight he gained?
Former champ Tim Bradley still backs Crawford, but gives him just a 30 to 40% shot at beating Canelo. He praises Crawford's skill and ring IQ, but worries about Canelo's size and punching power. Bradley warns that Crawford's stubborn streak could be dangerous if he tries to trade with Canelo. He could get clipped.
One more thing. It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right. They ain't been like, wow, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, make the contact. But at the same time, I think snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using snack at all. So I think it's safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they test it.
Trainer Robert Garcia has noticed a shift in Canelo's style since fighters like Edgar Berlanga. Garcia says Canelo doesn't push for knockouts anymore, he just does enough to win. He'll drop opponents, but won't always finish them. A tactic Garcia thinks is about protecting his body for the long run. The knockout power is still there. He just saves it.
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga, but not Canelo?
It's just Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, and not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but
he's fighting since 15.
15, a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believed.
Virgil Ortiz Jr. is clear about his pick Canelo wins. He points out that even though Crawford has bulked up to 180 pounds in training, adding weight and truly belonging at super middleweight are two different things.
I don't think he is, but if he beats Canelo, he'll be like my #1 fighter of all time.
You don't think Crawford beats Canelo?
I don't think so. And look, hear me out. I respect Crawford and everything that he's doing, but he just moved up from 147, so I'm just gonna treat him as a 147 pounder. He's jumping up 3 weight classes to fight someone who was like the #1 fighter in all of boxing, you know. The jump would be hard, even if it was just like some top 10,
right, yeah.
You know.
Bud, would you say he's a very smart fighter?
Yes.
Very calculated,
yes.
Right? Don't you think that maybe he sees something that most people aren't seeing?
I think he does, but the thing is he gonna be able to even like to capitalize on it? Because he's a smaller fighter, and look, I think people are thinking at the aspect of, can Crawford do it? Yes, I think he can do it, but can Canelo do it? And I think he has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford does.
Favors him.
Now, Canelo, he has obviously the size advantage, the strength advantage, intellect. I think Crawford edges him out in IQ. I just think the weight difference is going to be the deciding factor here. I mean, like, when I seen Canelo's check hook against Berlanga, that shit was like this. You know, and Canelo's not slow either. Like, this shit was, I didn't see that coming at all. He just dropped him, and I was just like, damn, he still got it. I just think that Crawford just bit off a little more than he can chew, but if he can chew it and he beats him, which I think he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he has 0% chance. I'm just thinking Canelo wins. But if he does, he will be my #1 fighter of all time.
Wow, I always knew that you had a lot of respect and admiration for him.
Ortiz stresses that Crawford's size disadvantage is a big risk. If you get hit clean by Canelo, that's not good. He predicts a clear win for the Mexican star, but admits that if Crawford pulls it off, he'd consider him the greatest of all time.
I think he has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford does.
Favors him.
Now, Canelo, he has obviously the size advantage, the strength advantage, intellect. I think Crawford edges him out in IQ. I just think the weight difference is going to be the deciding factor here. I mean, like, when I seen Canelo's check hook against Berlanga, that shit was like this. You know, and Canelo's not slow either. Like, this shit was, I didn't see that coming at all. He just dropped him, and I was just like, damn, he still got it. I just think that Crawford just bit off a little more than he can chew, but if he can chew it and he beats him, which I think he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he has 0% chance. I'm just thinking Canelo wins. But if he does, he will be my #1 fighter of all time.
Wow, I always knew that you had a lot of respect and admiration for him.